The key word there is like, and I totally agree with you, Nolan.
I will
yeah, they are.
burn down your house.
Welcome to New Game Plus. This is a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name is Dustin.
Kenny.
My name's Nolan, so what?
And this is episode 481. And the question of the week is, what is more important to you in a video game, good characters or a good story? And the reason why I ask is because I adore both and I'm not sure which one is more important, so sway my opinion.
Okay. I will sway it one way and Kenny will present a counter argument. Because I know he has the wrong answer.
I think we'll sway it the same way unless you're
Kenny's
crazy.
answer is neither.
Right. He doesn't read
False.
text or story, or he doesn't cry or anything. It's a tough question because one influences the other very heavily. And I'm talking about characters. Siri is listening to me. Shut up. Characters are more important than the story, but only technically, because the story is heavily influenced by those characters, and you grow to love them, and they're well written, and things happen to them, and you don't want things to happen, and there's conflict. And that's, to me, that's why most stories are good, is because of characters. And so I can't choose story over characters if I'm asked that technical question, if that makes sense.
Kenny, you gonna sway me?
No, I'm going to say that Nolan was right, though he tried to convince me that I was going to disagree with him for some reason, which is crazy because this is clearly the only right answer. And he thinks that this is a hard choice. This is not a hard choice at all. This shouldn't come as a surprise. I'm in the good characters camp. Here's the thing. Good characters can carry a mediocre story. Bad characters can ruin a good story. In fact, you almost can't have a good story without good characters. There are a few exceptions here, obviously.
Write it down.
So it's easy.
Let him cook.
Non-story rich games, which really are my preference, like we've established that, can also still be character rich.
True.
Like you can have a game that has robust characters, not much
Fighting
story,
games.
and fighting games.
Yeah.
Any number of things.
League of
Whereas
Legends?
trying to shoehorn story into a non-narrative game can be distracting. So in my mind, it's easy. Completely in the characters, please. And they're the most important part camp. And I hope I've convinced you.
He cooked.
He did. He didn't give me a counter argument, and I don't know what the counter argument would be.
I
would
either.
love to hear people's thoughts in Discord because I think I agree with you guys. But both of these elements, by the way, are my most important elements in any video game. I love story. I love characters, and I do think that I agree. Good characters can make a story. Bad characters can break a story.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a thought experiment.
Ooh.
Next time you boot up Tetris, will
Why
you
is it
just
always
name
Tetris?
the blocks? Just give them names.
Already done that. I have
Oh, yeah?
backstories.
It didn't help.
They still get deleted.
No, because they're all grizzled war veterans.
So
it's a crazy story.
you made them bad characters.
You know,
Now I
gameplay-
understand how you feel about that game.
Gameplay used to be my
Gameplay.
number one.
Ooh, that's Kenny's.
I'm slowly going towards your camp, Dustin. I think story
Hey.
and characters are way better.
As you get in your later years.
Yeah, I think something's happening. Something's changing.
Well, welcome to the family. Some games have unforgettable stories that move us. Others give us an incredible cast of characters fighting for glory alongside their cis brothers and transistors. Like in our retro game of the week, the Ninja Warriors.
Overview.
The Ninja Warriors was released in 1994 in North America and originally in 1993 in Japan. The Ninja Warriors is a side-scrolling beat-em-up developed by Natsume, and it's a remake/sequel hybrid of the 1987
Both.
arcade game by Taito. Yes, It's got the same name as the original arcade game, but this version expands on it with bigger stages, in a bigger way with new stages, characters, and different combat as well, more refined combat.
The arcade game, I know we're not talking about it. We probably, the randomizer's probably not going to pull it in for a long while. Although when it does, maybe it will be worth visiting. I don't know. We'll have to have those conversations. But
yeah.
This is one of the early remakes of a game, but the arcade version came to the arcade in 1987. It had 3 screens, one of the first arcade games to do that. And they weren't actually side by side. The center screen was there, and then the other 2 were down low, mirrored up to these side panels. And so it appeared like it was 3 screens. A very interesting kind of machine. Yeah. But that game, I did watch a lot this week. I didn't play it. Is very different than this one. There's only the 2 characters. If you're the first player, I'm sorry for doing all this right now, but we're not even talking about that game in particular. But the first player is the girl ninja in this one, and then the second player is the ninja in this one.
Okay.
Say the word ninja one more time.
Ninja.
Okay.
It will be interesting if that game comes up, because it is different enough that I would say let's play it and treat it differently, but I can also see the argument of someone saying no, it's the same.
Sure.
But we are on the Super
She has shurikens.
Oh, really?
She does.
This is on the Super Nintendo. If I didn't mention it, that's the version that we played, 1994 version. You play as one of 3 cyborg ninjas and side scroll your way through these stages as you're punching and kicking and throwing things and people like you do in most beat-em-ups. The story of this one takes place in a dystopian version of future Earth. A jabroni by the name of Banglar is a dictator that controls humans, brainwashed humans. And then some dude named Mulk and his forces are resisting this dictatorship by sending in absolute units to fight off these humans, which is kind of a funny plot because it's kind of swapped. Usually the plot would be, I don't know, dystopian future, cyborgs have taken over and the humans have to resist. So I find this a really ironic story.
Can I add one other thing about the 1987 title?
Why are you so obsessed with it, bro? Just marry it.
He played the wrong game this week.
I know.
I think it's interesting how different it is, and I love this aspect of it. In the arcade one, I believe that you as the player didn't know that your ninjas were cyborgs until the very end after you beat the final boss.
That is a better twist than kind of showing it on death. That's a better
because
reveal.
I mean, even think of their character builds. Like,
sure, it shows.
You might not know that they're androids.
It's pretty clear on one of them.
The third one, which is not in the arcade version.
Right. But in this game that we played this week, that's the game we're talking about.
I know. I just thought that was an interesting twist because in this one, like Nolan said, when the story sets up and you've got the scrolling text and you've got the worst names of villains and characters ever, it pretty much it clarifies that you've got cyborgs. And then, as you're picking one of the 3, one of them is like very clearly like android. Although he is wearing pants, it's appreciated.
Well, that's nice.
NGP is basically a book club, but instead of boring old books, we play retro video games. And it would be impossible without you, our community. Every week, we hang out in Discord with you, and we talk about new and old video games. Discord is the hub for all things NGP. In Discord, you can talk about the game of the week that we're playing for the podcast. You can talk about retro finds that you find at the gaming store, or you can talk about hobbies if anyone even has those anymore. All you have to do to get involved in the community is go to discord.gg/newgameplus and get plugged in with our ever-growing community of retro gamers. We'll see you there.
Gameplay.
In the Ninja Warriors, there are 8 stages with unlimited continues, which is always appreciated. And you are playing as one of 3 android ninjas. I keep specifically saying android because I looked up the difference between cyborg and androids this week. Do you know the main difference?
Androids look like humans.
Yes, and they are fully robotic, whereas cyborgs are more human with just like robotic
with
or
parts,
elements.
Like
parts.
a metal private parts or like
hold on, can you say something stupid real quick?
Data versus Captain Picard after he's been assimilated by the Borg.
Nerd, don't know what that is.
Yeah, absolute dweeb. You have got 3 options here as we're recording a retro video game podcast. You've got Ninja, which is what a name, who is your most powerful of your 3 but lacks speed and mobility. You've got Kunoichi, which is your she is the most balanced of the fighters. And then you've got Kama Itachi,
nice.
who is the most
you said it right.
cyborg android robotic looking of them all, and that boy is fast.
Too fast, 5 me, honestly.
Yeah, you tried a couple on your first play, and I believe you settled with Ninja. Is that who you stuck with the rest of the week? And by Ninja, we're talking about Low Taper Fade boy.
Ninja's my number 1, not streamer, the big robot guy.
Yeah,
easily.
You like brawling and tossing people around?
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's a bad choice in this one because you're not one of the Ninja Turtles in their beat 'em up game that is moving across the stage quickly, unless you're maybe the 3rd one. But even him, like it's not the most fluid, I would say, of beat 'em ups. So having a thicker guy that can do more damage, although he might be slower, is not a bad option.
I also think he has pretty good reach on the other 2 as well. I think he has a couple of moves that go
got a ton of range.
Far, and that's helpful and great.
We'll talk about their moves, obviously, but that move he has where he like whips the stuff behind him and in front of him, that thing takes up like half the screen. It's a huge hit.
It's good.
Definitely not half the screen. Kenny, you stuck mainly with Kunoichi?
Have you heard of the word like? Like half the screen. False. I'm a Kamitachi boy and clearly the best character.
Why? Because of his design?
Because of everything. Coolest looking, easiest to use for me. I think for some people, depending on your play style, Ninja might be easier. But I did better with him than I did with Ninja.
That's surprising to me.
Great flavor, dishes the damage, moves around.
You tasted him?
What does he taste like?
Excellent.
I'm surprised by that, Kenny. I thought you would have thought he was a little too unwieldy.
No, I loved him.
Okay.
And then what about you, Dustin?
Who said that?
We don't care.
I played the majority of the week as Kunoichi. However,
did you?
And I still like her kit. But
say,
when
are you mad about that?
Am I mad about that? No.
Yeah, in retrospect, I feel like she was worse
than
either of the other options.
I think she's the safest.
It depends on whose hands she's in.
That's
However,
true.
Once I found out that this game is not about punching and kicking, but is about grabbing, I switched to Ninja, and I will never go back.
It's the best feeling. It's 100% a grappler beat 'em up.
It is a grappler.
Like, both in objects that you pick up to use, and more so just grabbing the enemies. It's so free. In a lot of games, they make you work for the grab. In this game, you don't have to work for it. At least in the difficulty I play. Is there more than one difficulty?
Yeah,
there's a hard mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
A hard mode. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't play hard mode.
It doesn't multiply the enemies on the screen. It just multiplies their ferocity and their damage and all of those things.
Okay, so maybe that changes in hard mode, but they don't attack often enough in normal, so you can just go grab them in the face and throw them. It's awesome.
Not everybody every time, but it is absolutely necessary, so much so that your final boss can only be defeated by using grabs.
Which is kind of weird.
Oh yeah, it's a weird final boss, but it makes sense because you're fighting like the business chubby guy that is just kind of hiding behind glass. So it's not like he's the one that's actually fighting you.
Grapple the grappler. There are enemies in the game that can only be hurt by things being thrown at them, including people as well. So that's another reason.
You're talking about the big like robots?
Yeah, unless I'm mistaken, there might be a way to hurt them.
They can be hit from behind. But it's hard to do that, especially with Ninja, because he cannot jump.
Right. Yeah.
Forgot to say that.
Yeah. He's got a jetpack boost.
He's got his jetpack.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's just
around.
It's just a forward momentum attack, though. It's not going to do like what you need it to do in that case, where you need to jump over him or something.
The moving him on the screen quickly, though, I found even more than the flying version of that. I found that when I was playing as him, I actually used fairly frequently.
Oh,
dude, he's so sick.
For all of them, doing that like a slide across the ground into a kick or something is very powerful. You've got a ton of enemies in this game. A lot of them will take one hit. You know your normal soldiers that might have a knife that's running at you, and then you've got maybe some snipers that will take a couple more hits, try to keep their distance and shoot at you. You've got little mini Wolverines. That are so annoying.
Really fast.
Those guys are the worst.
Really fast enemies, and they're short too. So like some of your stuff's gonna whiff.
You've got the suits. I don't know what they're actually called. None of these enemies are listed in the manual, but guys in suits that are coming up, they take a lot of damage. But again, with the ninja and with Kunoichi, I keep saying that because Kenny, yours doesn't have a grab. It has a
you still
a grab
get to
push.
grapple people. Yeah.
But
it's
not
just
hold,
different.
though.
No, you can't pick them up and carry them around and throw them.
Right. Which, if you're not understanding and listening to this is super unique because in a lot of these beat 'em ups, you've got a special move maybe that's different, or maybe they wield a different weapon in the Ninja Turtles case so that like it's slightly different, but it's pretty much all the same. Yeah.
Entire kits.
In this one, it's not
completely different.
Loved it. And
you feel it not only in their design but in their other stuff too. You talked about how it's sort of like one and the other, but it's not even quite that clear because they have different ranges, and then their weapons work differently. Which ways they interact and jump and what kinds of attacks they have work differently. Which ones can pick people up is different, but I think even your mobility, they're given like height and weight stats, and you feel all of that.
That uniqueness between their kits, along with the fact that this is not a plane of movement like a lot of beat 'em ups. I say a lot. Maybe it's not a lot. Maybe it's just Streets of Rage. That I'm thinking.
I think it's a lot of the key ones have different planes
where you can go up and down and left and right. This one's literally just go right. I mean, you can go left but like you go right. So those two factors, this game feels a lot like a fighting game to me. Like in the movesets,
elements of that for sure.
Yeah, how the characters play differently, for sure. Fighting game inspiration on this.
Oh. Yeah, like movesets, movement, all of those things. Because I think in part, the singular plane, but also I think a lot of it goes to it is not as much of a fluid move quickly around the stage. Again, I guess if you've got the Kenny's character, you are moving a lot faster. But man, particularly with Ninja, you are pretty much lumbering around the stage, doing big damage, big chunky punches, big grabs. I mean, straight up, like I even love that because the grab is such a key mechanic in this game, you have got 3 options, I think, at least with Ninja, of what you do with the character once you grab them. You can spin and toss them. You can just toss them in a particular direction, or you can bring them down on your knee and break their back.
Bane
like, you've
style.
got multiple options. Oh yeah, so like that's what I'm talking about. Like wrestling, it's a fighting game in a lot of ways.
You also have
on
a
the
screen
screen.
clear.
Ooh,
attack
yeah.
That is reminiscent of shmups, actually. I don't really associate it with a beat 'em up, but yeah, I mean, in Ninja's case, he spins around a jetpack and the entire screen just dies.
So, sometimes you have like special moves. You know, I think of like the X-Men arcade game, that their special moves tend to be pretty screen clear-ish. So I don't know that it's a completely novel mechanic, but it definitely is interesting how it charges up, how your charging up is interruptible if you get hit, which is a kind of important thing to pay attention to. And I don't know, just the implementation here was unique.
A couple things about this just to bring clarity. So on the screen, you've got your timer, you've got your score, you've got your health bar, and you've got a blaster meter, I think is what it calls for each of the characters. And that blaster meter extends over time. I think also doing damage helps it to grow faster, but once it is fully filled up, you've got an image that is highlighted that tells you've got your special ability. This is only a 3-button game, so you've got basically your jump at the bottom, you've got your strike, your hit, and then you've got your special. And the special can be used. It is a screen clear. It pushes everybody away from you, gives you space, which is needed in this, one singular plane. However, I don't know if you knew this. You can actually, for every character, I love this, and I've not seen it in another game. Once it is full, there's another ability that is gifted to your character. You can follow up a short combo with, I think it's a few different ways to proc it. I would always just hold up and then Y, or no, up and then X, I don't remember, but up and then the button, and you would just expend maybe 3 or 4 bars of that meter and do a stronger attack that you don't have unless that meter is all the way filled up. I thought that was a really cool, small, but welcomed addition.
It's like an EX move in Street Fighter. It's a more powerful. You can use it. It's exactly an EX move. Instead of doing a super, you just beef up one of your attacks.
This you should have gotten out your fight stick. Don't you have a fight stick?
I do. I should have busted it out for this, but it was on SNES, so it felt right to play it with the SNES controller. Yeah. And I think, by the way, it controls nicely on that controller for being an arcade game. You said that, I don't know what you said earlier, but I think the controls are pretty tight for a game. It felt right to me, and I know that some people would play this and feel like it's laggy or that it is janky or something like that. To me, it felt right because my moves came out at about the same speed as the enemy's moves. I mean, with variance, obviously, depending on the enemy. But it felt fair. It felt tuned correctly, and I thought it was pretty responsive.
I felt tight. I definitely didn't feel like it was too loose, but my major complaint for the majority of the week was that it was too stiff. I don't know if either of you felt that, and it was even with just a few different characters, but I just felt like it was, for a little bit, the weight and the responsiveness didn't feel right until I played it for a fairly lengthy amount of time with a particular character, and I guess grew accustomed to that, but it just felt a little bit more weighty than some of these beat 'em ups feel.
And I think I like that, is what I'm saying. I think I like the weight of this of these characters. Yeah,
I think some of that also was you playing Ninja.
And it was, but although I did start as Kunoichi, Kenny, I did spend some time with Kama Itachi, and he's fun, dude. Like he doesn't do enough damage, but he is fast. You can just kind of spam your way through.
I felt like I did more damage with him than with either of the others. I know Ninja also dishes it. It's just sort of like different kind of damage, but like he spins around like a blender. He shoots out his spikes from his shoulders and his hands. I don't know. I really liked his design and the way he played. He was easily my favorite. And I love that you guys are right, that there were moves to learn, and some of them that were fairly easy, and then there was more complex moves too. And as the game got more difficult, you really had to learn to play the game. This is one that you can kind of button mash your way through a chunk of it.
Kinda.
But there's going to be some key elements as the game gets a little more difficult, where if you're not reacting to what's going on the screen and playing correctly, especially during your boss fights, you're going to have a really hard time. And Dustin, you say unlimited continues are always welcome. They're very welcome here. I needed them majorly. Sometimes I feel like games use them as a crutch because they've made a game, I don't know, like overtuned. This didn't feel like wildly too hard, but in a world where I didn't get unlimited continues, I don't think I would have ever had any chance of beating it either. So I don't know how to navigate that balance.
I mean, you've got options. It's either unlimited continues or give your character 3 lives. You're still probably not going to beat it on 3 lives, but because you only have 1 life here. It's 1 life, but unlimited continues. So
also,
if you have
play
limited
hard mode
continues,
you find it's too easy.
Sure, but I don't think that's Kenny's issue.
No, not.
I don't think that's
not my problem.
But like the other thing to your point, Kenny, about like you can't button mash. There are other segments in some of these stages that are like the environment. There's like some hazards. Like early on, there's like some missiles that rain down on you. There's a chopper that like shoots a gun at you. Every one of those sections is stupid and unfair, and I hate them because they're really hard to deal with. And I don't know. I feel like some of it's like super cheap, and there was no way to like handle it.
I do think
the missiles I do agree with. I hate. Although there's a fairly generous there's fairly generous iframes in this game.
Yeah.
And you get them when you're picking something up, picking a person up, or picking up an environmental box, or just doing certain moves. So there's pretty generous there. The helicopter is very scripted, so I don't give you that one. It's on the they shoot on the left, then they shoot on the right, then they shoot on the left, then they shoot on the right. So you don't even have to jump; just move to the other side of the stage.
Regardless, the fact that there were as many environmental challenges as there were, and that they were things you had to think of, was to me really welcome here, because this genre of game can lean too repetitive, and I do think I fought a little bit of that this week, of like, oh man, I'm just brawling with more guys again. It's just lots of waves of the same enemies. I don't think it was like super problematic here, but part of the reason it wasn't problematic is because those enemies would change, the locations you were in would change, but they did a great job of breaking it up by giving you these environmental interactables, whether that's items to pick up or bullets to dodge or bombs or spinning fan blades to have to like
to walk through
strategically. They made sure to do a little bit more than just the hordes of enemies, which is really nice.
And one of the things that I guess I think also helps, I'm just going back to a conversation we just had about the difficulty, the challenge, all of that. I don't know if you noticed, because you may have been relying too heavily on save states, but there's checkpoints throughout each stage. So like even if you do die, and by the way, dying is not necessarily a bad thing, because you get to switch characters during that, which is always welcomed. But you start back at the checkpoint, and so throughout a stage, depending on the length of the stage, there's 2 or 3 checkpoints. There's always a checkpoint right near the boss. You might just have to do one wave of enemies to get to the boss, but I think that's super helpful. I think it's fairly balanced and still allows you to get through it all the way if you want to. I think it's fairly balanced there.
They took out the like arcade unfairness in that regard and made it a lot more like home console friendly by adding those checkpoints and having the continues, because this still feels like an arcade title in pretty much every way. It would just without the cheap garbage,
Aged.
It's a game with really big sprites. It's a large sprite detailed game. And I typically like that unless it's done poorly. And I thought this was done well. I think it's super detailed and really well animated.
Would you call him chonky?
I'd call him chunky, especially if we're talking my boy Ninja. But yeah, a chunky, real chunky, like enemies, characters, the environments, the things you're picking up and throwing. It's like taking up half the screen. It's great.
Like, the key word there is like, and I totally agree with you, Nolan.
Yeah,
they are
burn down your house.
They are big, and everything is big. But it is nice that your character is big. Again, particularly Ninja. If you're grabbing,
he's the best boy. Let's just get it out of the way.
Hold on. It is a curse though if you're not grabbing or not good at it because you're bigger, and so you're getting hit a lot more.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall the game looks really, really nice. Like, it has a really good SNES look to it, if that makes any sense. Like, I think the pixel art is done really well.
It does. Bright, yeah. like it's got the big chunky sprites you guys talked about, kind of that arcadey vibe, but it's the bright colors and the style and the way they do backgrounds feels very Super Nintendo. I agree with both of those things. Really done visuals. Well done visuals. They also did a nice job with the UI, didn't keep it overly cluttered. It was simple. Your health bar on the bottom, boss health bars on the top, really clear what was going on. Easy to read, it looked good. And can we talk about, sometimes we get caught up in the gameplay and the look of the game so much, we don't talk about some of the bonus stuff. That opening cinematic, I don't know if you watched all the way through it or just a little bit of it. That thing was freaking epic. I thought it was really well done.
Where it's like going through the story.
You're making faces like you didn't like it. Not the story scroll. Pretty much everything after that.
It's like the titles.
Was kind of lame.
That?
The title's like scrolling and it shows like the cyborg feet and everything.
Yep,
Sorry,
the
Android.
huge words, and there's epic music going on, and you're getting flashes of the characters.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cinematic. I like it too. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch that part. I just got into the game.
It's good.
I watched the story scroll, but
yeah, if you stop at the story scroll, you're gonna be like, oh, it was fine. And like, I guess they need that. Although the story is hot garbage. But
it's really dumb.
The story's not good.
It's really dumb. Really stupid. But just the part after that really redeemed it.
Yeah,
while we're on the graphical side of things, the thing that actually surprised me the most is with the sheer amount of enemies on a screen, even the projectiles at a time, that are there as well. I experienced very little slowdown. I would have expected a lot more in a game like this, but I don't know, honestly, if I came across slowdown even once.
Yeah. And with like the
in
screen
games like
clear
this,
animation.
You have it all the time.
Glass breaking, objects being throwable. Yeah, I agree. I think that they did a good job on that as well.
No. Yeah, it was very solid. And even other things, even some of those subtle things that do matter a lot, but that are easy not to notice, your iframes and how long they worked, and like it was very well made, and it like the graphics didn't suffer as the gameplay was playing.
Musically, this genre can be one of the ones where you're more zoned into the game that you're not being able to pay much attention to the music. But this week, because it was being shared in Discord, I took some time at work to just listen to the soundtrack, while I was working. And then I was able to pay attention when I got better at the game. And I thought that the soundtrack's actually not just fitting, but really good for this fighter.
I muted it and played Addison Rae's album this week while I was playing this game.
Mistake.
Then why weren't you playing as Kunoichi?
I'm just kidding. It's very good. Because when I'm playing it, I wasn't really noticing it all that much because, I mean, there's stuff going on. But I did notice people were posting in Discord like back-to-back tracks, and I just clicked on them, as I was scrolling through. I was like, man, this is good.
There was a remaster that was developed by the original core staff. By the way, I didn't even say it up front, but this was developed by 3 core members, a game designer and artist, a programmer, and a composer. I think basically it was a 3-person job,
Are you kidding?
which is absolutely remarkable. And I believe all 3 of them came back for the remaster that came out for the PS4, the Switch, and the PC called The Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors in 2019.
Same people?
Yeah, larger team, I think. But yeah, same people came back to do that.
That's really cool. And also crazy impressive that the original one was that small. What?
Right. So they updated, the OST, but some of the same tracks. They added, I think, 2 new playable characters, which is always welcomed.
Yeah, it's great.
You also got new moves on your existing characters.
Oh wow!
There's a couple like Ninja Savior specific moves that you can't do.
Is that one co-op?
That game.
I feel like this one's missing a co-op. Like these games are so.
I did just think.
That.
And but it might not be because of how
It's not
large
plain.
everything is, and it's not a plane.
The plane,
like how would
yeah.
I want co-op with friendly damage on.
That would be chaos. Gosh. No one would win.
Impossible. There's not enough room barely to even survive from the hordes of enemies that are coming at you. But yeah, I think it's finely tuned for a single player experience, but I do understand these games are often a lot more fun, these types of games with 2 players, and so I
Ninja Turtles was crazy fun.
Though. So much fun.
With
Sunset Riders, very different kind of game. This game though, for the Super Nintendo, it's gonna blow your mind how expensive this thing is.
It's probably not.
$110 loose.
Wow.
Beat up, crusty from your grandma's house.
$740 complete in box.
Wow.
Wait,
more than
are you ready?
It better be an android that can fight and save humanity at that price.
And $2,368 new.
See why though?
Probably just rarity.
I guess
probably
that's
rarity.
Insane.
Maybe cult following, because I don't think this blew anyone away when it came out.
I've never heard of it.
In the time that's passed.
Maybe.
Is the main reason, maybe we're having this premature discussion, but is the main reason people don't know about it because the title is so vanilla? Like, it is so a bad title.
It's
the worst part of the entire game.
And it's probably because in the original they didn't want to give away that they were androids, but you could have had a cool name with something android or cyborg or robot or anything. Robot ninjas, ninja robots. I mean, there's so many.
Robot Ninja is unironically a better name than the Ninja Warriors.
The Ninja Warriors.
And it's still a terrible name.
Yeah.
Right.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status. It is our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. Before I share my piece, I do want to let y'all know that I think, according to some of our Discord family members, that if this game does not get New Game Plus certification, then we will have made our longest no streak in NGP history, which is kind of hard to believe.
Wow.
And that would also mean that in this upcoming retro recap, we will have had the longest yes streak and longest no streak that we have ever had as a podcast.
Even if we're one short, the fact that it swung so hard from that many yeses to that many nos, even if it's not quite record breaking, is insane. We got to choose a lane.
Right.
Yeah.
Choose a lane and singular lane, dual lane. Anyways, I will start by saying that the majority of this week, my answer was clearly no. Because of some of the things that I mentioned. I felt that there was a weightiness that wasn't welcomed, and it wasn't just with Ninja. I felt like the maybe responsiveness, I just felt it was too clunky. And on top of that, I'm going to say something that I think is Kenny's sentiment as well. This genre sometimes for me just feels like you're doing the same thing the whole time. It's just, I'm just walking and punching. And in short bursts that can be fun, but the loop is not always satisfying for me. I was going to say no this morning. And then I locked in, played some more, and discovered this game was about grabbing, and had so much fun playing as Ninja, and got a lot better at this game. Like, I can get through the first 2 stages without dying. I know that's not maybe saying much, but I started having a lot more fun. And as Ninja, you kind of feel like the Terminator, just walking around this thing, not dodging, just grabbing, doing damage. It's a lot of fun. Each of the characters, very unique, has their own fun. I think this is an interesting one because I do think it adds something a little bit new to a genre that I don't particularly love and can quickly grow stale. I think it's got a terrible name, but that's about it. The rest of it is good, and in some areas, it's even great. I don't think this is the best beat 'em up ever. I think in some ways I'm going to forget about it because it doesn't do anything terribly new, and it's not connected to an IP like the Ninja Turtles or X-Men that I love, but it's a good game. And because it's such a different game that I don't think many people know about, and because I had fun playing it by the end of the week, I would say yes, the Ninja Warriors gets my vote for New Game Plus status.
I feel like my experience was kind of the opposite of yours. Before I go there, though, let me get on my soapbox for just a second, and I won't stay on here for too long. And yes, this is very much a 2025 rant. Maybe this game was super prescient. I don't know. If the androids are the only thing fighting for you to save the day, if that's all that's left, it's too late. You've lost. It's over. That's not the way it's supposed to be. I just want to say I'm firmly pro-humanity, and this game depressed me a little bit. That tangent aside, this game's fun.
It wasn't soapy
it started
or
fun. It is a little bit too repetitive at times, but at least the bosses are all different and broke that up. Some of the stage interactables, we talked about that some. I feel like I did have the kind of opposite problem Dustin had. I loved this game right away and was really enjoying it. As the difficulty ramped and as I felt like some of the gameplay felt repetitive, I felt like my enjoyment of the game tapered off instead of went up. It didn't taper enough, though, for me not to say you should probably still play this game. Overall, I had fun. Big, bright, arcadey, simple. Definitely not perfect. Certainly not one of the best games we've ever played. Kind of even agree with Dustin's sentiment that it may be a little bit forgettable ultimately. But I had more fun than I didn't, and that's important. It's very important in a game. I do think Ninja is not the best character, though. New Game Plus.
That's 2 yeses. The fate of this game is in your hands, Nolan.
Ninja's the best character, and this is one of my favorite beat 'em ups that I've ever found. I don't typically love this genre, and I've only played a handful of big ones. So to play this one and for it to be so different than those, and I hadn't heard of it, I mean, it is so high quality, and I think it's aged better than most of its peers. I mean, I think it's super fun, and I think it's balanced and fair, And the fact that you have 3 characters to choose from that all play differently. Yeah, come on now. It was fun for me all week. Ninja best. NGP.
Wow. That means we did not get a streak of our longest streak of bad games.
Correct.
The Ninja Warriors is New Game Plus certified. But what did you think? On our YouTube poll, 21% said yes, it's worth playing today. 7% said no, go play something else. And 72% have never played it before.
No surprise there. I'm a 72er.
Many from our community played along with us this week and wrote in, giving their thoughts. A few of them. Clint said, I actually quite enjoy this one. It's a somewhat simple and straightforward BUP without a lot of the usual trappings that end up frustrating me. Lots of enemies with annoying attacks, ranges, and what feels like obligatory death zones. And no 3DS depth of area, so I don't have to worry about being just far enough back where my attacks don't land. It's really solid, and I had a pretty great time with it, especially if you can get it loaded on a handheld device. It is well worth a play. NGP from me.
Handheld would go hard. I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
it does feel
On Steam Deck?
absolutely feels like a great handheld title. Yeah.
Harold said, playing a beat 'em up reminds me of playing Double Dragon with my brothers. This one is pretty cool, but it doesn't scratch the itch for me, probably because I associate these kinds of games with hanging out on the couch, drinking and snacking and passing the controller around, all in a pretty nice game. All in all, a pretty nice game, but not one I would recommend to everybody.
Yeah, that like
There's that sentiment of being able to play with somebody. You know?
Yeah, for sure. These games are way better when you can, even if it's single player hand off the controller. Yeah.
I mean, there's something about the genesis of this style of game being in the arcade when you've got a first player and a second player, or
yeah,
first,
it
second,
carried
third,
over
fourth.
into the home for sure. They kept the essence of the arcade with this game.
This was on the Super Nintendo.
Bilger said, ever since
Build
I
your own
discovered this game in the early 2000s, it has been one of my all-time favorite beat-em-ups. It's a brutally punishing technical beat-em-up that requires you to master each character's unique playstyles to win. Yes, it can be frustrating at times, but it is oh so satisfying when you do finally complete it. The soundtrack is also one of the best on the SNES. Not one track sucks. For this playthrough, I made myself play through with Ninja, who I always avoided before. When I first started playing with him, I thought he was terrible, until I got good with him and had an easier time with him than the other two. New Game Plus, without a doubt.
But have you heard Addison Rae's album?
I haven't, but Pepsi. I thought this whole week that I at least was going to make a lot in our community mad because most of them were feeling good about the game this week. So I was interested to see where we would all come. I thought Nolan was going to say yes, and for the majority of the week I thought Kenny and I were going to say no. But that's not what happened. And then finally, Levi said, I threw this game in after a long day at work, and even the wife and kids got involved. We had a blast passing the controller around, and my wife really started to kick butt. For a SNES beat-em-up, I was shocked at the movement set and differences in the characters. The graphics were welcoming, and the music was actually super solid. After beating it in one night, we decided to give this NGP for sure. But that last boss sure was...
Sure was what?
I think that's where it ended. No, probably.
They forgot. So this game's certified good for kid havers as well.
Kid havers, that's what most people call them. Thank you for sending in your thoughts on the retro game of the week. You can do that each and every week to ngppodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to include your thoughts as a part of our episode next week. For now, we're setting aside the Ninja Warriors, and we are not randomly selecting from our great big retro master list.
Why not,
because
Dustin?
believe it or not, this is the start of our summer pool party.
It's the only good thing about summer.
It's true.
Says who?
It's true. He said it. It's true.
Come to Texas and you'll understand. It's miserable.
I've never been there. Yeah. Do you know what's even more fun about this summer pool party, boys?
I do, but I want you to tell everybody else.
Sure. Well, I'll say the thing you're not thinking of, and then you can say the thing you're thinking of.
Okay.
One of the things that makes it so cool is that this game that is being selected today, we are playing for 2 weeks.
Oh,
because
that is
next week is our retro recap. So we're starting strong. Okay. And then what's the other reason?
The other reason is because normally when we do summer pool parties, there are off weeks where we get out of the water. We said this year, why not just stay in the pool? So it's going to be
so pruny.
Patreon pool, followed by producer pool, followed by Patreon pool, followed by producer pool, and then more until we're done. I don't know how many we're doing.
Yeah, rinse and repeat. We're doing that for multiple weeks in a row. So if you're going to get tired of that and want the retro, the randomizer from the Retro Master List and bad games, then you're just going to have to wait. I mean, I guess it could still be bad games.
Or become a patron. You could do that too.
Ooh.
Better idea.
Influence us. Patreon.com/NGP podcast, and you can join in on the summer fun for as little as $5, or you could be in all of it if you join us at the producer level.
What kind of games we got in there this time?
Stats by Shane.
Oh, okay.
Stats by Shane.
Stats by Shane.
Yeah, thank you. I kind of just want to skip over this, but I'll say it for the sake of posterity. The PC followed by the PS2 and the PS1 are our most entered consoles.
Always.
The Virtua Boy, CDI, and Dreamcast have 0 votes.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's also others. At 5 votes, I'll give you some of the big hitters. At 5 votes, Silent Hill 2 and Super Mario Sunshine.
Silent Hill 2
I'd
would
be
go
okay
hard.
with one of those.
Kenny does not want to get scared.
I want Kenny. Oh, please, God, and he's got the first play.
Please let it be Silent Hill 2.
No.
Get hiccups.
Please, no.
At 6 votes, we've got The Guardian Legend and Neverwinter Nights.
I don't know what either one of those games are. I saw Stats by Shane. Sorry, I looked at it. Spoiler. And I was like, what are both? I've heard of both of them, but I'd have no clue what they are.
Well, The Guardian Legend has been in our Patreon pool for years.
And they pulled together
now.
this time. There's a lot in there.
Yeah, we'll see. But at the top, 7 votes for The World Ends With You.
I do know. That's a DS game. I hope it's that too, because Kenny DS, lol.
I think it might be 8 votes at this point in time, but The World Ends With You, yeah, a lot of people came together to, 8 votes. The World Ends With You at 8 votes, all the way up there. We've got other games submitted by a host of other of our patrons, like Fatal Frame 2 from Big Dude.
Okay.
Ninja? Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. It's a GameCube game from I Love You Pizza Man.
Oh, no.
I love it too.
Mystic put in Star Fox Adventures, and also a GameCube game. And Mystic put in Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core for the PSP.
Hey, I would love to break out the PSP for that.
I just don't want to play that bad game. We've got a lot of games in here. Time to start the summer pool party and find out what game we're going to be playing for the next 2 weeks. Randomizing now. The game is this.
Okay.
It is a 2003 video game that came out for multiple consoles. It came out for the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
It's fine. 2003 is past when I get really excited about, but it's fine.
No, that's prime.
I feel like it's Nolan's sweet spot.
Yeah.
Well, it is the 5th entry in a series.
Okay.
Maybe a good sign.
It's likely.
And
I don't know.
I believe in the history of our podcast, we played 1 game from the series.
Okay.
There were 2 individuals that submitted this game.
Okay.
And those individuals are Sin Doctor and Official WNBA.
Ooh, I feel like Official WNBA has been lucky on getting game selections.
Caitlin Clark.
The game that we're going to be playing for the next 2 weeks is none other than Tony Hawk's Underground.
Oh, Underground 1?
No, just Underground.
Okay. I had this on GameCube, and I love this game so much. I've played so much
So
of it.
what kind of summer is this going to be based on that? Gnarly?
Ooh. It's going to be steezy.
Interesting. I think 2 years ago we had the summer of weird. This last year, I don't even know.
It was last
what happened.
Year? Summer
Last
of
year?
weird.
I think it was 2 years ago.
What was last
Okay.
year? Summer of good?
Either way. This is going to be
What
the
happens?
summer.
What happens if the groundhog just goes back underneath?
Then they can't. Then time stops until it comes back.
Look at Nolan
Okay.
doing a yes and off of a
Well,
bad
then
joke.
time portal, because it's the summer of underground.
Steezy.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate all of this. Find a copy of Tony Hawk's Underground, played along with Dustin, Kenny, Nolan, Sin Doctor, and official WNBA for the next 14 days.
Then you can manual or grind on over to our Discord server by going to discord.gg/newgameplus. And by the way, note for me or mods, I need to set up onboarding for our server. We've had it for a long time and it's great. And yeah, so go to discord.gg/newgameplus.
You can also go to patreon.com to support your favorite retro gaming podcast and to jump in the pool with us. This is the beginning of our summer pool party, and if you want to be in the fun of suggesting games that you would like us to play, which we would love for you to do, Patreon is the place to do that. You'll be joining people like our many producers, including Alex, Marley, and Antonin, Ben, Cody, Craig, Dagany, Dan Willett, Garlisle, Hallex, Harold, Hey Brother, J. Robert, Jake Jordan, Justin Klin, Lepidus, Landris, Levi Maxima, Megatroid, Miss Muso, Not Enough Dog, Rad Max, Sagen, Scotty Chain, Shauna, Snake Medic, Spinning the Jet, Stephen Fox, Super Hybrid, Swaggy Taco Fish, Psycho Mantis, Thomas, Unbedavable, and Zion. Thank you to those of you who are our newest patrons, jumping in at the right point, including Bihan, Fabian, Michael, Braden, Nick, Jason, and Champagne Vinaigrette, who is joining us as a producer level supporter. Our directors are Bro Jim, Sasser, Mystic, Tins, and Siegfried, and can't wait to swim around this pool with each and every one of you.
It's going to be crowded.
Champagne is getting on at the right time because Champagne is going to be able to be in all of the pools this summer.
Oh, yeah. Hot tub
Excited to see you there in your floaties. You can follow us on our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Links are in the show notes. Make sure you listen on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you're the first to get new NGP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. Do it. You can. Our episode artwork was created by our friend Dave. Our video episode was edited by our friend Dylan. Our audio episode was edited and produced by our friend Dan Willett. Join us next week for a retro recap, and the week after as we play Tony Hawk's Underground. Until then, I'm still Itachi.
I'm still Vitamix Android Ninja.
It's 10:24 p.m.
And this has been a late night New Game Plus.